So in the previous video, I was talking about the Higgs boson field and the fact that we are just simply interacting energy that's interacting with the Higgs boson, sort of like like a rock interacts with a pond and forms those waves. That that's essentially what I'm pretty much saying. Um, think of it this way. Because we are essentially matter itself, subatomic matter, um, at the level of quarks, and you could even talk even bigger, like muons and taus, and those scientific words for particles. They're all waves. That all the waves who have or that possess matter, or that we can interpret as having mass, and interact with the Higgs field, which in term is referred to as a boson, which means matter, substance. But in reality, it's nothing but waves. Waves that interact with this field, which it's conceptually very hard to visualize, but that's what gives us, or gives things, the properties of having mass. Without this field, without the energy to interact in that field, there is no such thing as matter. And one example is light. Ooh, light. Cool. Light is the only thing that we could say that has energy that does not interact with the Higgs field. Because it doesn't interact with the Higgs field, it moves at the speed that it does, speed of light. It's like my professor, when he was teaching this, he gave the example of moving through a crowd. If you have, let's say, you go to some famous concert music that you like, you're at one end of the stadium and you want to cross to the other end, and it's packed with people. As you are walking through, you're limited by the people as to the speed that you can go. I mean, if people are in the way, you can't just go through them. You have to literally your speed depends on the interaction you have with those people. Well, you can interpret that as everything else that is not light. An electron. Well, an electron interacts with the Higgs field, therefore its speed can never reach that of the speed of light, because light would be as if you were on one side of the stadium and you could cross it max sprint and there was absolutely no one in that stadium. You reach your maximum speed, or your speed, because you never interacted with the people that, well, they're not there. Well, in the sense, that's how light is. Light doesn't interact with the Higgs field, therefore it moves at the speed that it does. Things that have mass uh, interact with the field, and that's why they can't move at the speed of light. That's why it's an impossibility for anything with mass to move at the speed of light. So what I'm trying to say with this is that, back to the energy example, we simply are waves that interact with this field. There is no such thing as an absolute substance. The question behind that I thought of, or just think whenever you have free time and you're in class, uh, was that just like the rock example that generated these oscillations in a pond, these waves, there's a source. There's a source for any field. Electromagnetic fields, magnetism, just magnetic, electric fields, gravitational fields, every type of field has a source. Um, and I just think to mind, if we are nothing but interactions in of energy and waves, then we can't really truly say that any of existence really is, because we are singularity waves. We're just waves. The waves are not perceived by any of us as an actual substance. And the Lord, when He says I am, He's saying, listen, you don't know this, but you don't exist. You are a product of the waves I produce. You are a product of my thoughts. You are a product of the energy that I coordinate. Your very composition. I would sound epic if I said your atomic composition, but no, your the composition of your atoms depends on the input of his power for it to even exist. It's as simple as that, as complex as that. So I am not in a fight with religion and science. I think that God is beautifully designed this universe. I think that it's scary the amount of power that he has to be able to expand one thought into the creation of the entire universe. Just for me to think about the process that it takes for nuclear synthesis to occur from a proton to a helium atom, and then take it to a francium atom, and then organize all those atoms to interact into organisms and then into our composure. It is just surreal. It's just mind blowing the power that he has. So I don't fight with religion and science. I think they're beautifully dependent on each other, or should be. I think that there should be a little bit. I mean, there should. I mean, I can't dictate obviously what should or shouldn't be done, but I think it would be nice to find people that shared similar views, that just marveled at the power of God and science, and who credited science to God, not really to men. We're simply just finding these things that were created. We're just looking at artworks essentially, and I just wish more people could marvel with the same depth or even more depth than I can, um, about the wonders of God. And whether you agree or disagree, this video isn't made with the intentions of creating arguments. I'm no PhD yet, God willing, but so far, the more I learn, the more um, things make sense in the Bible. Not that they're dependent on science for sure, but there's different areas of the Bible that I see with a different light, that probably the average person couldn't see, at least in that respect. But my words, I guess, for the kid who was struggling with his parents and him putting too much faith in science, as his parents said. I don't think it's a matter of putting too much faith in science. I feel like um, he should just, or they should just instill for him to have more faith in God. And like at least with me, I was more of a internal desire for God to show me. I didn't ever think that it wasn't real. I just wanted sense out of it. And I feel like it wasn't really me figuring things out, and I don't claim to have figured things out right now. I don't claim things that are absolutely the way that I just described them. But there are things that I feel that have some logic to it, and that more than likely are more complex than what I even think about. Um, but I see that God is perfect. He's orderly. He's logical. He's intelligent more than any of us could ever even conceive. And therefore, I feel like science and religion shouldn't be in a fight because, I mean, God is the definition of science. He designed everything by his intellect. So maybe you should have a new light on science if you're anti-science, because it's a beautiful window into seeing and being amazed by the power of God. Till next time.